Hola amigos, welcome to Life for Living Well channel. Please subscribe to keep the channel going. You can also check us out by visiting our website on www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Sit down and enjoy the helpful topic for this week. Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life for Living Well. Hope you're well. Okay, my name is Richard, and I will be your anchor for another wonderful week episode from Life for Living Well. So, before I dive into the podcast this week, I quickly wanted to say if you like to know or you like to support this community by sharing the platform with your friends, you can check it out on our website www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Once again, my name is Richard, and I will be the anchor for the podcast this week. The topic this week for us is a continuation of the last 6 weeks that will be looking into different practical skills that we can work on in ourselves, and we can develop it if we already have it and we don't use it frequently. So what is it that we're looking into this week? We're looking into critical thinking. This is a bit heavy and is also a light topic to deal with, and I call it 10 practical resourceful skills, critical thinking. So this week alone is the 7 of 10 practical skills that are listed in the beginning of this podcast. Is there any point that you missed one of these episodes, you can also replay it. If you don't have it on your favorite podcast playlist, you can also listen to it on our website. The website display last 3 weeks release podcast. So let's dive into it. So today's topic is what we call 10 practical resourceful skills, critical thinking. So to borrow from Socrates, so I would like to start this particular podcast. So according to Socrates, he defined critical thinking as one of the tools that we can actually use to liberate ourselves from so many things, especially our emotions. So you realize that majority of people act first and then they think about the consequences later. Once you embrace the critical thinking, you become a maestro in using reason along with your emotions. It doesn't mean that you should avoid or run away from your emotion, but you should allow to manage your natural nature. Our natural nature is to act first. If you wanted to know how true is this, for those who have a pet, look at your pet. See how when you go for walk in the evening, see how much time they get distracted with everything that comes to their attention. In that area, we probably do a little bit much better, but we are not different from the animal themselves. So our natural nature is to act on what we're feeling, or what we hear, or what we see. We might be mistakenly that what we see is actually accurate to the action that will follow what we concluded to. But using critical thinking, we're able to help us to actually bring reason behind it. And someone put it much better. I think Napoleon Hill, he said our emotions like a water. If we channel it well, it's a beautiful thing. But when we constrain it, and the moment it releases, it causes much havoc to the surrounding. So what these particular skills that we're looking into today does is to help us achieve a better living. So let's see what Socrates said about it. Socrates said, if you want to find yourself, think for yourself. But I believe that most people actually think about what they're about to do, what the consequences of what they want to do. They feel, they act. So it is important that we create a friendly relationship with our feelings, our emotions. It's also more important that we can use our reason to confront those feelings, not suppress it, because many people actually learn to suppress what they feel. No, you go through what you feel, you relate it with it, you interact with it if it's possible, and you use your reason to question it. So life becomes meaningful when you are able to absorb many viewpoints without overly identifying yourself with it. I know from observing few people around me and observing many people through different channels, majority of people live their life on what many people are doing, and others are contrarian in nature without critical thinking. So they do the same, they just act. It's become a game of chess. One moves, automatically your opponents look into you for your own weakness and try to take another moves that give him competitive advantage. As we all know, the majority do not mean right. So because everyone is doing one thing and you jump to the ship and do the same, it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Neither just oppose anything for the sake of opposing, but only truth, which is fact, may set you free. So when you focus on do what is right, not what is right now, so you begin to set yourself free, because many of people are still driven by what other people say, what other people do. So this week you will learn about, number one, what's critical thinking as a good skills to have. Number two, we will also try to cover what are the benefits of critical thinking. And the last one, how do you develop it in yourself? If you do, because you already have it, but the question is, do you use it? And if you don't use it, why? So because every one of us have a preference. And like I said earlier, majority of people, including myself at one point, we all react on whatever thing that we feel or say or perceive, and then we don't quietly think about the consequences of it, because it's not in our nature to hold a heavy emotion for a while. Because like water, it wanted to flow, and any container you put the water becomes that container. Okay, talent alone will not take you far in life. History is full of men and women with less talent, but took personal initiative and persistence to change the course of history. If you are a person that really care about reading your favorite individual biography, you'll have learned one or two things about their behavior and actions. And you will also notice that if you also read why, or even yourself, you will realize that that quality is not just in your hero, it's everyone that share the same trait or get the same outputs in life. So the Bible says, you shall know the truth, and it shall set you free. But it may not say how this you will know the truth. It may not give you the tools how to do this. It might tell you that if you seek to know the truth, and once you know the truth, that truth will set you free. Set you free from your own belief, set you free from other people's belief. So when you begin to use your critical thinking, you don't always believe everything you hear or say, including what you're hearing from this platform. If you listen to me right now, don't just believe everything I'm saying. If it's not lie to your own conviction, reject it. So, like many other things, so many books, many words, many messages, you listen to it. It comes through you. You take what you need to take. What doesn't suit your life right now, you rejected it, or you release it. So this is the power of critical thinking. So you're able to question things that you hear, question things that you read. So if many people do that, hardly will we have a fanatic in anything in this world. But we see the result when people don't think for themselves. So they don't know themselves, so they define themselves with the mob. They define themselves with their belief. They define themselves with the color of their skin. They define themselves with their nationality. They define themselves with the language they spoke. But you are all part of those things, but you are more than those things. And that is really hard for a lot of people. So today, many people are ready to follow and replicate what others are doing. You believe every philosophy, ideas, way of life, culture, even standard education without making your own personal view. So listen to so many things, the race, the culture that you brought up with, they also have their norms and beliefs. When you begin to employ your critical thinking, you begin to question so many things. So many things become so irrelevant to your life right now. And there's no reason why you should just follow it because of fear, or should just follow it because everybody that you know do the same. Question it. That will attract a lot of people that don't use their critical thinking. They might see you as an outcast. But if you want to find yourself, according to Socrates, think for yourself. Critical thinking is a skill that comprises or have many tools, especially now with months of information, choices, and lifestyle. So this is the time that everyone should sharpen their critical thinking. Why? Because we have the explosion of information, explosion of ideas, philosophies. It's all over there. And even if you are not looking for it, if you are not reading it, someone you know will be practicing it. And even if someone you know doesn't practice it, you yourself will see the poster or come through your phone, or say through the social media that you have on your phone. So when you employ your critical thinking, it probably help you a lot to separate what add virtues to your life and what deduct virtues out of your life. Even though do not believe everything you read or hear. So, as I said earlier, even on this particular platform, as you listen to me today, if this message is not resonant to you, don't embrace it. Is any of this message that you listen through this platform does not resonate to who you want to be or who you already are, just reject it. And many more that you listen. The grow mind is the individual that entertains so many different views without identifying to either of them. It doesn't gel to how you want to live your life, how you see yourself. So the need for instant gratification results are great impediment to critical thinking. So I always question, why do you think critical thinking is so difficult to practice in this time in our life? Why is it many people don't deploy these things? It's more to do with the nature of the world today. Everything goes with the speed of light. People want instant results. People no longer have to wait for a few days till they see the plant in the ground to take time to come out and generate seed. They want the mango seed they put on the ground today to come out tomorrow and have the seed the next day, have the fruit the next day. Critical thinking doesn't work this way. Sometimes you feel first, sometimes you observe first, sometimes you hear first, sometimes you see first, but then you deploy your reason to question all those things that your eyes, your ear collect as a forms of data. Another thing that impeding the critical thinking, apart from instant gratification, is mental laziness. I do say this with few people that are born to. They're easily ready to believe what they hear without questioning it. Someone once asked me, what is offline sense? And I've seen offline sense for years, and I've never actually checked it out. What's the offline sense? I just say they sell alcohol, but you're not allowed to drink it there. So I went to check the dish, to check online, to Google a little bit for it, to find out that what is offline sense that they put out in the UK. Some of the shops sell alcohol and they put offline sense in the shop. And there's a person that just arrived to the UK and he asked me this question. And I've seen offline sense for over 20 years. I've never actually really questioned because it wasn't something that they particularly interested for me. So there are so many things that you listen right now that wasn't really interest to you, or you don't really bother about, you take on the face values because it doesn't have it direct to you. But when you deploy critical thinking, you have to take responsibility and take action and even do things that you don't want to do. So, but the mental laziness is more common than we would like to admit. We just switch off. So when you deploy critical thinking skills in your life at large, you begin to notice changes in areas such as, so let's look at it. Number one, you make accurate decisions. Number two, better and healthy relationship with others, because at that time you focus more on fact, not fiction. And that is really difficult when you're upfront, when you are honest, when you are clear, when you're a little bit transparent to the people. It's more easier to fish out friendship or connection that's actually there to exploit you. They won't be able to do it. They won't be able to do it because your honesty, your integrity, and your boundary is so clear. And if they have different intentions and you make it everything open, so they have to be open as well. And at that time, they have no chance. Two things will happen. They will pull away from you quickly. And then you will wonder, oh, why this person pulled away? But when you have enough experience, you no longer wonder. You realize, okay, that's what happened, and thank goodness for that. So, you manage your time effectively. So you begin to put something inappropriately. You know what area you should put a lot of your resources in terms of your time, because it supports your definite purpose, intention that you want to create, and you prioritize things that each one have the high priorities to focus on. So, and these are the things you become more intentional. And also you become more proactive. So you're no longer reacting to things. You say things sometimes before it happens, and then you can take action before it's actually happened. Self-education that leads to personal growth. So most people are comfortable with their standard education. So once they finish the university or polytechnic or grammar school or high school or A levels, they're at the end of it. But that's only create a living for you. But when you embrace self-education, you actually create a life for yourself, because you no longer make money, you create wealth. And this develop you in every capacity of life. You also have open mind, and then open to the experience. Last one, you differentiate fact from fiction, and this is where a lot of people run to trouble. So they find it difficult to know the difference between what is real and what is fact. So they live their life so much on superstitions, and that only creating a one-sided story for them. So because this life, according to Buddha, said the life himself is suffering, but it's more suffering because of our own attachment to how we want things to be. It could be because of our belief, it could be because of our aspiration, it could be because of our desire. But mostly when you begin to deploy critical thinking, even when the lower emotion comes, and you have the time to let those emotions take its hold on you and see what is going on, and deploy your critical thinking, your reason will release you from it quicker, because the longer the lower emotion stay on you, it deprives you of fatality of life. And if you don't take charge of your inner world all the time, there's so many agents in the outer world, external world, that will trigger or inflict a wound to your inner world easily. So as we bring in the podcast to the end this week, so let's quickly cover the remaining area of this podcast this week. So these are a few benefits you may derive from critical thinking. This case is far more critical to us today, with the implosion of information readily available to us from multiple platforms and devices. You wonder what a better way and tools are available to critical thinking. So let's say how we can work and develop the critical thinking in us. So these are the traits that accompany critical thinking skill, and they require using it and practicing with it. So the author of the book of Proverbs stated that iron sharpens iron. These are the few tools you use to develop your critical thinking, if it's something that you really like to do. Number one, questioning and being proactive to follow up. Number two, mentally alert. Write it down. Your observation, experience, reflect on it. Carefully select people that have developed this skill, and they would impact you greatly. And number four, read a lot and widely. Number five, traveling. You might begin to travel locally. I'm quite sure there's part of your area that you don't even know it exists yet. But you might be the one that driving or traveling or flying far away all the time. But try it locally as well. You'll be surprised. Take time in a day to be intentionally a thinker and doer. So let's go through it quickly again. Number one, questioning and being proactive to follow up. Number two, mentally alert. Write it down, your observation, experience, reflect on it. Carefully select people that have developed this skill, and they would impact you greatly. Number 4, read a lot and widely. Don't just read articles or books in your relevant field or interest. Expose yourself widely. Read a religious book as well, and you'll be so surprised. Number 5, traveling. And number 6, take time in a day to be intentionally a thinker and a doer. If it's not something that's so natural for you, just take a time in a day, maybe before you start your day. Just think about one thing and make intention to do it. Okay, so we're bringing this podcast to the end for this week. So if any skill is essential and critical in navigating life, critical thinking would add a positive vibe into our life. Most especially, our attention and resources are being pulled in from multiple sources. We do not have unlimited time and resources. How and when we use these resources will depend largely on designing we have been. I hope this podcast helps someone. If you'd like to know more about Life for Living Well, or you'd like to contact me and write to me or ask any question, you can send it through our contact form on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Once again, my name is Richard. Until we meet again next week, please stay safe and have an amazing week. Ciao. From everyone here from Life for Living Well, we say hasta luego, amigos. Thank you for your time this week. May your rest of the week be safe and loving. Please subscribe to our channel to keep it going. And you can find more information on our website by visiting www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Goodbye.